This is one of my favorite replays ever. Me and Oakley playing on Memphis, defending the pyramids from a Galatian and Egyptian attack on this small settlement, and it's going to start with a bang. Chariots and Ptolemaic cavalry coming out of the center of the village to attack this Galatian army, and our opponent is going to make one of the biggest mistakes you can ever make against chariots. Chariots are not good right now. They are not good in Rome 2, but if you mess up, you will get punished by them really hard, and he's going to turn his entire flank to my scythed chariots as I send them out, and I am going to cut a swath of destruction through the middle of his formation. You can just see the chariots plowing through all these Galatians. All he had to do was sit still, wait for the chariots to come to him, and if I tried charging in from the front, I would get peeled to death, take a bunch of precursor javelins to the face, and I would die. If he used his cavalry, if he used his levy freeman to actually click attack orders on my chariots, I would have been screwed. I would have lost many, many, many talents from losing these two scythed chariots. But as you can see, in seconds, I've plowed through like an entire section of his army, and he's lost hundreds of men already, only 15 or 20 seconds into this battle. So what you want to do when you see scythed chariots running at you is, well, you can send medium or heavy cav in to tie them down, or you just click attack orders with your infantry and they will throw their precursor javelins, and with a bonus first large, they will shred scythed chariots. And that's why they're so bad, is that every single unit in the game right now, seems like, has bonus first large, precursor javelins, so there's not a whole lot chariots can do if you click attack orders. But he turned his flank, I pulled through, already up to about 300, 400 kills on my scythed chariots. Over on the other side, the Egyptian enemy player is going to decide to bring his chariots up, and you know what we're going to use on them? Flaming balls, of course. He's not going to notice it. He's going to try to pull through the flaming balls and lose an entire unit of scythed chariots. So in the span of about a minute and a half, they've lost a lot of their army. The scythed chariots are going to go down really fast to those fireballs, and this is not looking too good for them. But me and Oakley at this point were extremely happy with the way things are turning out. So I haven't gone over army setups yet because things start out so quickly in this game. We brought some Egyptian pikemen, a royal peltash general. We brought some of the more unique flavor troops for the Egyptians. We have the Egyptian infantry, Egyptian pikemen, and then the Kushite Shieldwomen, Kushite Shieldwomen, and the desert Leopard Warriors. So we have some really cool units that you'll get to see a little bit later on in the battle. But right now, Egyptian player has moved up with some Galatian swordsmen and his war elephants into the center, and up above we have Rhodian slingers and some thorax swords, just kind of keeping an eye on things, ready to deploy any fireball should he break through the center of the plaza. But we have lots of stuff to deal with those elephants. We have pikes. You can see the Egyptian pikemen tanking out right here. I wish Egyptian pikemen were better. I wish pikes were better in general, but Egyptian pikemen look like badasses. I love their shield. They're one of the most flavorful, unique looking units in the game. I love looking at them. They're just not very good, but right now they're going to be able to hold the line against Galatian swords, and you can see some scythed chariots and the African war elephants trying to pull through and kill the center of our formation, but we have plenty of stuff to deal with that. We have a royal peltash general moving in now, going to throw some jabs at the elephants, going to be able to do a lot of damage there. You see one elephant dropping already. He's going to notice it and try to charge into my royal peltash gen. I don't think this is going to go very well for him. One more peltash throw. Yeah, you can see lots of elephants dropping right now. And I think there's only one elephant left. That's soon going to drop as well. And a lot of their war machines, the scythed chariots, and the war elephants have now dropped off the face of the earth, eradicated them really quickly, and we have defended the plaza for now. So our secondary line, like I said, has some fireballs up top, thorax swords, some Kushite Shieldwomen, and the desert Leopard Warriors, which look awesome. Not very good, pretty low armor, but they are an okay flanking force, I guess, if you're into that sort of thing. But they're really not worth their money at all, to be honest. But we wanted to bring a more unique looking Egyptian army. We could have brought all the high tier Galatian sword, or Galatian legionnaires, and Galatian royal guard, I should say, and all that stuff. But we wanted to go for a more unique looking Egyptian army. So scythed chariots, another one of them. I think our opponent had two of them and one war elephant. Gonna try to pull through right now and get into my royal peltash. You can see the Rhodian slinger just shredding them apart. He's going to try to pull away, too late, already taking way too much HP damage. And now the rest of Egypt is moving up. I've moved my Ptolemaic cavalry into flanking positions. And Galatia Damocles, the dank centurion, is now moving up, and you can see just the devastation, the utter devastation that my 2 chariots unleashed on his army there. I believe I got around 800 kills in that blob. He had that one section of his army isolated, other section of his army was kind of cut off from it, and I was able to pull through and just destroy them. So now Thorax Sword's getting sent into melee here against some enemy Thorax Swords. That'll of course be a pretty even fight. But Galatia's moving up now, and he is the one we really have to worry about, because Galatian Legionnaires and the Galatian Swords can do so much damage to our Egyptian line. Yes, we have 2 Galatian Royal Guard and 1 Royal Peltas. Those 3 units will be able to hold their own against Galatia, but there are still way more swords on the field for Galatia than there are for our Egyptian defense force. So we have to be worried about them, honestly, and we have to be a little bit crafty with the engagements we take. Because, I mean, my chariots are pretty much dead at this point. They both routed off the field. They did a ton of damage. I believe I have, like, the remnants of 1 chariot left, but other than that, we don't have a ton to deal with swords really effectively one-on-one. And, of course, cavalry charges. We have 3 full-strength Ptolemaic cavalry. That will help, but it gets a little bit finicky when you're inside the middle of a settlement, because they don't always get their charges. They can plug gaps in their lines or gaps behind their lines with Levy Freeman or joke units that don't matter, and it's going to be hard to use cavalry effectively in the middle of a settlement. But I still have them in threatening positions to see if anything opens up, and the later this game goes, I will be able to deploy those Ptolemaic cavalry, hopefully with some good charges here. So some citizen cav moving up the center, our more elite swords now moving down. Oakley's moving his Galatian Royal Guard and 1 Egyptian infantry around the flank to strike the Galatian forces in the center, and things have gone really well for us so far. Balance bar is still actually relatively even, but over on this side there is I believe a Galatian sword moving up, trying to trade some Pilum volleys. Not going to go well for them at all. We have 2 Egyptian infantry going to throw their Pilum, and as soon as those 2 jav throws come in, the rest of this Galatian sword should rout, and then of course a really nice charge from Oakley in the flank with his gen. Gonna rout that Galatian sword. So we've gotten that off the field now, and some of our reserve troops can now start collapsing into the center. You can see our main line is faltering a little bit. A lot of the Galatian swords have pushed in, done a lot of damage to us. Nice little killing animation there. Blood pouring out of those poor Carrion Axemen. Carrion Axemen not going to do well, of course, against Galatian Legionnaires or Galatian swords. They're going to get cut to pieces, but moving up some more Egyptian infantry, who I believe still have 1 more Pilum throw each. I'm going to try to send in my chariot to see what damage it can do, but it's going to run in and just plop over dead. Poor guy. But chariots did their work, and now Galatian Royal Guard coming in to attack the flank. Now, there are some thorax pikes from the enemy deployed in the center here, and they are ready, so you can see Oakley decided to stop his charge with the Egyptian infantry a little bit, and I'm going to send in my Royal Peltas to try to get into a flanking position around behind these thorax swords. They should be able to do really well against thorax swords as long as they don't get surrounded or get Pilum thrown in the back, which is of course a possibility. There are still 3 Syrian archers left on the field for Galatia as well, which is also a problem. They can do a lot of damage to Royal Peltas, because Royal Peltas have a good shield block chance, but they aren't the highest armored unit in the game. Some citizen cav trying to get at our skirmishers. I'm not going to let that happen, but Oakley is getting shredded by the auxiliary Syrian archers. General's wavering at this point. I don't believe he died, but he took a lot of damage there from those 3 archers in the center. And things are pretty even. Now this is this is going to be a big mistake for me. I'm going to bring my Royal Peltas General up because I wanted to engage some of the swords and maybe get at the skirmishers. Damocles is going to notice that and collapse in with some Galatian Legionnaires. And this was so dumb for me. Like, I have no idea what I was doing. I let my gen get isolated here. Now I'm going to get shot in the back by whatever he wants to shoot me with. The Syrian archers can get flanking shots off. Not going to go well for Royal Peltas. But not just that. There's going to be a Celtic sword coming in directly from behind me. And this is just not what you want at all. My gen going to get completely isolated from the rest of my army. No idea what I was thinking. Really stupid for me. But, I mean, Royal Peltas are going to get cut to pieces. They already have trouble beating Galatian Legionnaires. They're going to take a lot of damage just 1v1, even though Galatian Legionnaires cost way less. There's about a 200 and 250 talent difference between the units, maybe even a bit more than that. But with our Galatian swords charging in from behind, hammer and anviling, pancaking my gen in between. That's going to go about as horribly as an engagement can possibly go. So gen going to die and route from the field. Not the biggest deal because Oakley is still fine and he still has 2 elite swords with the Galatian Royal Guard still on the field. But that was bad for me. That was bad for me for sure. So my gen off the field now. Still have some of my pikes left. Still have my mercenary desert Leopard Warriors getting ready to charge in the center here. And I still have my Ptolemaic Cav in flanking positions, ready to charge as soon as they make any micro mistakes or forget about them in the back. Bunch of blood. This has just been an absolute bloodbath. Carnage in the center of the settlement. More thorax swords charging in now. And we've pretty much beaten them back from the center. There's no hope for them to cap at this point. Balance bar has shifted a little bit more in our favor. And Damocles is going to start shooting into some of our more... actually, some of our really inexpensive troops that don't matter a whole lot. The Leopard Warriors charging in, trying to get them in a flanking position. You can see the red morale for the Galatian Legionnaires. Gonna pull through actually and try to get into the skirmishers, which should work really well because Leopard Warriors are fast. It's one of the few good things they have. Gonna be able to charge into Assyrian archers. And then over here, Ptolemaic Cav coming in with a charge into Levy Freemen who are not braced and demolish them, of course. Levy Freeman, if they had thrown their Pelum, gotten their precursor jabs off, that would have done a lot of damage to me, but he didn't get it off. Or he might have already used his ammo. I'm going to pull out, take almost no losses, and he's going to lose the majority of that Levy Freeman unit and the ranged unit he had behind that, the Javelin unit. Over here, I tried to continue killing the Syrian archers, but he overlapped with the Galatian noblemen. That's his gen, I believe. So don't want to leave Ptolemaic cavalry in melee against heavy spears like that. They do have one of the highest tier spears in the game. I think maybe the elite spear, the armor piercing spear. So Galatian nobles are really scary to deal with for cavalry, of course. And I'm going to have to just pull out that engagement. But everything else is pretty much breaking at this point. I'm going to just cycle charge with the Ptolemaic cavalry again. Probably pulled them off a little bit too far. They didn't need to go that far out. Kind of wasting their stamina a little bit there, but it's alright. Still almost full strength, 71 men left in the cavalry unit, and one more charge here into the Celtic Javelin men and the remnants of that Levy Freeman. Should rout them from the field. They're going to brace, but it doesn't mean anything. Just plow through, and even a couple more plow through all the way to the Levy Freeman. See them, send them flying, and pull out one more time. And everything is going poorly for Galatia and Egypt at this point, and that's going to be a mass rout. They're going to rout from the field, and we are going to get one of the most epic, maybe not, well, I thought it was exciting. I thought the battle was so much fun. Just like the armies we brought were not try-hard armies at all. Galatia's honestly kind of was. He brought all swords. The other Egypt player, the enemy Egyptian player, kind of had the right idea. 3 chariots, an elephant. He brought kind of a trolley army, but Damocles brought a really strong sword build, and my chariots just destroyed him. Just ran roughshod through his entire army. Felt so good to see them pulling through there, because you don't see chariots do well very often anymore, and it's nice to see those elite, unique units actually get used, because Rome can get boring with the sword spam. So I punished the sword spam there, got a ton of kills this battle. Oakley did really well as well, and that's honestly one of the most fun battles I've had on Rome 2. I loved it. I hope you guys did too. Talk to you all later. See ya.